Coming up on Mountain News this morning, cases of COVID-19 in Laurel County have nearly doubled in the past week. Hear from health officials about what this means, what is behind those numbers. And as the pandemic continues, we show you how local doctors keep finding new and creative ways to keep people healthy here in the mountains. Plus, we take you to Frankfort, where Governor Beshear announced a plan to hopefully make health care more accessible for Kentuckians.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is now 2 minutes after 6 on this Thursday, June the 18th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. Rainy yesterday, foggy to start off today, and Brandon says rain could very well creep into the forecast almost all 7 days that we can see ahead. But let's just focus on today. Let's bring in Brandon, who can give us a breakdown of what to expect rain and temperature-wise. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning, Will, and we're seeing some very dense fog right now across the region. 5 miles, as I always say, is very limited visibility. You see a lot of numbers that don't even have a number in front of a decimal point, so that means less than 1 mile. And some folks like Pikeville, zero visibility, Jonesville, zero visibility, close to it there, basically across the region. So be careful this morning if you have to be out early. US 119, US 23 at Jenkins, you can see the fog kind of drifting into the valley there, so expecting to see some of that there before too long, where we can see it on that camera. We're looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, low 60s across the board, so another mild morning. Today, 74. Unfortunately, just like the last couple of days, those rain chances will continue, and they'll even go up a little bit today to 40%, thanks to that stubborn low that's hanging off the Carolina coastline and giving us grief like it has been all week. The extended forecast on the way here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, Kentucky is nearing 13,000 cases of COVID-19. Governor Beshear announced 170 new cases last night, along with 6 additional deaths in Kentucky. At least 518 people have died from COVID-19 in the Commonwealth, but more than 3,400 have fully recovered. Well, there have been 55 cases of COVID-19 in Laurel County since the pandemic began. 33 of those are active cases, and 27 of them were discovered in the last week alone. We talked with Public Health Director for Laurel County about the sudden trend upwards. As society moves forward, he says testing remains key as they test between 400 and 450 people a week. Right now, many people are experiencing something called COVID fatigue.
In our society at this point, they're just fatigued with the whole concept of COVID. They want to be out with their families. They want to be out at the ballpark. They want to be at the lake. They want to go on vacation.
In a county of about 60,000 people, the percentage of cases is small, but the precautions that need to be taken to make sure that it stays small still need to be followed. Well, another county that has seen a spike recently is Harlan County. They now have 15 positive cases, and the first case was not announced there until last month. I talked with Judge Executive Dan Mosley and a doctor in Harlan about the recent uptick in cases. Harlan County Judge Executive Dan Mosley knew it was only a matter of time.
People have to refocus and remember that this virus is still here. It's still very real. It's killing people every day. And we all have to do our part to make sure that we don't spread it.
Prior to May 30th, the county has only seen 1 case. Now they've surpassed 15, and 14 of them coming in just about 2 weeks.
When guidelines aren't followed to the direction that they're given at the state level, we've seen these things happen not just here, we've seen them happen all across the state and all across the country.
To date, more than 1,400 tests have been administered in Harlan County, a far cry from just a few weeks ago when we talked with Dr. Abdul Dahan, who had just began his expanded testing.
The number of people tested have increased. The policy that started have become more effective, i.e. swapping people who are not terribly sick, people going to the hospital, or people who come in for non-specific symptoms and they will end up having to be swabbed.
While Dr. Dahan acknowledges the virus is here and perhaps here to stay, he says the most important aspect of limiting its impact next to a vaccine is contact tracing.
I would love to do it more. I mean, that's the most important facet of controlling the virus. Because if you find somebody who has it, you trace them, find out who did they give it to, who did they get it from, and stop it, and that will prevent the spread further.
Hoping the vaccine arrives sooner rather than later, but also respecting a virus that attacks our most vulnerable. In Harlan County, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News. Now, 7 of the 9 active cases in Harlan County are in the Tri-Cities area. Judge Executive Mosley says they try to limit where they say the cases are in the county, but in this specific instance, it's important for the people over in Cumberland, Benham, and Lynch to know that it's very prevalent in their area. Now, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues, local doctors are finding some new ways to treat patients. Frontier Medical Associates is now not only offering a drive-through clinic, but also a mobile unit. They bought an ambulance and turned it into a COVID response unit. It will be used for COVID testing as well as routine exams. They will travel anywhere in Floyd, Johnson, Magoffin, and Martin counties.
We never thought we will see patients in a parking lot. We never thought we're going to have a mobile clinic. But probably this epidemic opened our eyes and made us probably more flexible.
They plan to start using the unit next week and also have extended their hours at all their clinics until 8 p.m. every weekday. Now, Governor Beshear wants to reinstate Connect. It is a state-based healthcare exchange that helps people find health insurance. Former Governor Steve Beshear started the program in 2013. Connect allowed Kentuckians to buy commercial health plans or sign up for Medicaid. This tied into the Affordable Care Act passed under President Barack Obama. 4 years later, Republican Governor Matt Bevin got rid of the exchange while in office, saying it was too costly. But Governor Beshear argues costs will go down and more people will then have access to health care.
We can reduce the cost of premiums to Kentuckians if we go back to a state-based exchange. We can also improve efficiencies, and we believe we're going to be able to offer more opportunities to Kentuckians.
Governor Beshear submitted a declaration of intent to the federal government wanting to bring back the program at the start of 2022. He says it costs $5 million to launch the system, but after the first year, it could save Kentuckians almost $9 million a year. Well, some people have been waiting since March to receive their unemployment benefits. Yesterday, hundreds of Kentuckians who are out of work and out of money waited in Frankfort for help. Governor Beshear also talked about the state's unemployment situation during yesterday's briefing. WYMT's Phil Pendleton was there and has more.
You know it's going to be a long day when they break the porta potties out.
It's very frustrating. I mean, people are scared. You've got the lady behind me came from like hours away and has a small child that rode with her in the car.
Some came from Frankfort and others from as far away as Paducah.
I haven't been as long as a lot of people, but I was here to try and get answers for the questions I have, why I haven't received any payment so far.
Anybody want some water? A Harrodsburg woman said she got in line at 7 o'clock this morning. Just after 9 o'clock, her claim was resolved. But others waited much longer, and they left still feeling not satisfied.
Because I didn't get everything solved that I felt should have been solved. You know, they were telling me to go talk to the banks. They don't know why this happened. They don't know why that happened.
The help first arrived Tuesday just after a protest started of people upset over the lack of results months after some first filed their claims.
Well, we knew we were going to have folks that needed help. They were at the Capitol and with the ability to provide folks there to help them. That's something that we wanted to do. And it shouldn't. It's not that it took a rally. It's that we've been slowly coming back to in-person services. Most offices for driver's license aren't set up yet. But we have been able to order PPE for our folks, and the experience on that first day was really positive.
Now, that was WYMT's Phil Pendleton reporting. When asked why local offices could not offer this, Beshear talked about the previous administration and COVID-19 as factors for shutting down those offices.
Just a little touch of rain over here in the parts of Pike, Mingo, and Logan counties, but that's about the only game in town for now. That will pick up a little bit later into the day. The main problem we're dealing with this morning continues to be the fog and basically zero visibility or very close to it across the region. So be extra careful as you head out the door this morning. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s, from 55 in Jonesville and Jacksboro to 63 in Moorhead and Logan this morning. So still a mild morning, still a fairly decent feeling morning when it comes to dew points, but they're starting to creep up, and that trend will continue as we head through the last day of spring on Friday and the first day of summer on Saturday. So our headlines, gloomy conditions will linger today and tomorrow. Those cooler temperatures continue for 2 more days. And then as summer approaches, the heat is on. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, President Trump says he wants Americans to get another stimulus payment. We'll have the details coming up.